If you can learn a skill set, you can completely change your life. But you need to bet on yourself. You need to put in that work, and then you'll be able to live the life that you want because in today's world, it's a completely different world, as you know. I guarantee from your guess and even on yourself. This digital world that we live in, you can take advantage of AI and everything coming out. It's going to really create that gap between the market. You can't stop someone who knows where they are going. So as long as you get crystal clear on where you want to go and everything of like that vision and you go after it, you don't need to know how, but you can't stop somebody who knows where they're going. The world will start giving you the different advice, the tools, the resources and things popping up to help you out.
Yeah, so my name's Sugira Rubasha, CEO of ETS Rubasha Media. We manage Anastasia's podcast. And so we're scheduling all her guests in because, we're just busy right now. And so we just wanted to have a chat with you. We've been looking at what you've been doing. I've had a look personally. I liked it, young entrepreneur, and you seem like you got a vision of where you guys are going. Seen a little, I'm a huge fan of Gary V. And we do a lot of the principles from Gary V actually inspired this whole journey. So yeah, man, really appreciate you for taking the meeting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Appreciate you doing some of the research too. And I mean, yeah, Gary V kind of, put the jab, jab, right hook. He put all the implementations and all the frameworks for all of us to take advantage of. So it's definitely been a journey. It's definitely been a lot of fun.
Cool. I wanted to ask, where are you with your journey now? Like seeing what you guys are building. What's the journey like for you, and what's the vision? Again, I'm always about what's the vision? What's Austin doing in 5 years?
Yeah, so basically right now, I mean, there's tons of stuff I can get into from the past, but with influential is a very different type of agency. So in today's world, you have like agencies that are mainly just always trying to just stack on a ton of clients, get the retainers, and like just deal with churn and things on that side. That's not our kind of style of an agency. We actually come in more as a partner. So we call ourselves like a growth partner with the business, and we only take on very select few accounts. So we actually have a waiting list of like 10 different accounts that want to join. But basically, when we come into a business, and it's usually online education kind of companies that we deal with, we take over your sales and your marketing. And then we take our retainer plus our percentage of sales while we manage those two like different types of departments. And we call our program the click to close. So we handle everything from creating the opportunity for you to closing it so that they can focus on what they wanted to do in their business and we can focus at what we're great at. Right now, we're managing $21 million in revenue, yearly revenue for all of our brands that we have. And then our goal at the end of this year is 40 million. Within 5 years, we want to be managing $100 million in annual revenue. And then also at that point, Horace and I are also going to be continuously building our personal brands. It's something that we put to the side because we were building all of these things. But now, like, we're in downtown San Diego. We have everything to, really do it. So now we're actually going to start building our personal brands and start really impacting more people and really just teaching people and showing like, if you can learn a skill set, you can completely change your life. But you need to bet on yourself and you need to put in that work. And then you'll be able to live the life that you want because in today's world, it's a completely different world, as you know. I guarantee from your guess and even on yourself that this digital world that we live in, you can take advantage of, or unfortunately, you cannot. And then with AI and everything coming out, it's going to really create that gap between the markets, which is kind of sad.
I love it. Talk about personal branding, even something like this, like when we have meetings like this, if you don't mind, we share this on social media, I'd love to get your permission, just in terms of like, I always say, how can we make the private public? Exactly what you just said there, so valuable. And I think sometimes a lot of marketing people, like I see in the industry, you do so much work for your clients and you're so passionate about working for your clients, but you forget to put that for yourself. But I just think with what you guys are doing, as you guys mix that personal branding, that's taking over the game. You're really taking over the game there. So let me ask you, like, what do you see is happening in the future? So, in terms of what you do now, so let's actually go to what you do and what you guys are doing. So, how do you guys help a business scale? So, you're saying most of your clients are coaching, right? They put out courses and things like that, right?
So yeah, I always like to kind of do online education, what we call it. Some strictly have just courses. Some have like courses plus coaching. Some have just strictly high ticket masterminds. So it kind of varies, but the whole point is like education, coaching, some type of mentorship to help you get a transformation or a skill set or something along those lines. Those are our bread and butter of our clients. To answer your question of how do we scale them, a lot of businesses, and especially because of the industry that we're in, it's there's so many different ways to scale a business, especially in the coaching industry. You can do a challenge funnel, you can do a lead magnet, you can do an application, you can do dialers, texters, DMs, you can do a DM funnel, mini chat. There's so many different ways to build these brands. The best thing to do is when we start working with a brand, is we look at the actual data. So ideally, we really work with brands that are already have somewhat of an established offer and have some traction. So that way we can just put fuel on the fire that they already have. And from there, we're going to look over your data. So your email open rates, your click-through rates. We're going to look at your ads back end. We're going to look at your closing percentage. We're going to look at your offer. We're going to look at what funnels and campaigns have you already done. And then from there, we're going to actually decide the next step and the next strategy. The biggest thing that we like to focus on is the biggest needle mover that we can do the fastest. So like, let's say they're running an application funnel, which is, people are able to apply, book a call, show up, get sold. We'll look, if they're already running that, we'll look at all the KPIs across that board. And then from there, if they're saying like, let's see their show up rate is 30%. Cool. Hey, you're already got all these other things going on. I'm going to fix the show up rate to get to 60% because just me doing that, I'm going to double what you guys are already doing. So it varies on the different businesses that we come in. And sometimes we'll have to scratch things and completely redo a lot of stuff. But it's really looking at the biggest needle mover that we can do the fastest to get the fastest result. Then after that, it's going to be optimizing everything else with inside their brand.
Wow. Okay. And you said something earlier. You said how, and even for the entrepreneurs who are watching this or the people who look up to someone like you, apply a skill, get good at a skill, do it again, do it again, do it again, get good at it, and it can change your life. How did you get good at this?
Oh man, years and years and years of practice. It's kind of funny. I mean, so I did network marketing or multi-level marketing when I just got out of high school because my dad actually built a bunch of those companies and I didn't really know him too much, but I knew that he did that. So I was like, cool. Hey, I want to get into entrepreneurship. Let me do that. And I sold a bunch of people into the program and into like my company, which was Melaleuca, which like sold dish soap online, but they weren't able to do what I was able to do. And that's really how you make the money. Right. So then I was trying to learn and like research how the hell do I market things for them better so that they can get leads and they can actually sell so that I can make more money. And then from there is where I actually learned the like opportunity to do digital marketing. This was about 8, 7 years ago. And from there, I was like, okay, well, screw this network marketing and MLM marketing because this is me getting paid off other people's work ethic. Digital marketing, I can get paid off my work ethic. So then I completely trashed and completely left that company and then started learning digital marketing. I kept taking courses, mentorships. I invested like over $100,000 into myself. Funny enough, actually, one of my early mentors, his name was Billy Jean. I went to one of his in-person masterminds out here in downtown San Diego years and years ago. I didn't even know exactly what everything I was doing, but I just wanted to be around people that were killing it and people that were doing it and I could learn from. And then from that, it's honestly a mixture of learning, but the biggest thing and what a lot of people mess up, execution. Go execute, go actually apply and implement the information that you're learning because then you're going to get your own experience and then you're going to get your own ideas and your own frameworks and your own ways of doing things because you have data from your own experience.
And speed, just doing things failing, doing things failing like
That's one of the tattoos right there. You can't really see it, but it says success loves speed.
success loves speed, man. Like even for me, like how a quick story, how I started this business was I was a YouTuber. Like I just started, I took out my phone. I've been an athlete all my life. I was in Oregon And then something just clicked in me, just started documenting the journey. So I started just documenting, and that led to here, running a business, doing this, for entrepreneurs and CEOs. Like, so yeah, it's speed, speed. And one thing that you said earlier, like, if I keep telling people, like, I'm looking at the marketplace today and I'm seeing people sleeping, I'm like, listen, if you're not ahead of your skill and you're not sharp, that you're going to be replaced. I think
Yep.
my damn self, how can we be replaced in what we do? Because we got to be the ones who invent or prompt that AI to be able to be effective, right? So you said it earlier,
Yep.
like if you're not sharp, you will be replaced very easily. Um,
1,000%. I mean, the crazy thing in today's world is like, especially with AI, and AI is getting faster and faster and smarter and quicker and all that stuff. If you are not positioning yourself, whether you're an entrepreneur, cool, make sure that you have a great product, a great service, a great brand, and actually really genuinely care about what you're doing, because that's going to be the biggest difference. It's hilarious how many agency owners, when I tell them our retention and the retention I've had throughout all my different agencies, they're like, holy crap, like how do you always have a higher retention? I'm like, because we get results and we genuinely care. Like, it's not just an agency where people just treat them like a number. If they're going to be entrepreneurs to do it that way, or if they're going to be, say, a high performer, you got to make sure you're a killer. You got to make sure that you're sharpening that skill set, because more and more AI and more things are coming out that just replace people. It's unfortunate, but it's also a opportunity if you take advantage of it.
so I want to touch on that point. You said something about retention for agency owners. So is also your retention so good because you have that wait list and you just don't take on everyone? Because it's like what I see about that, and we do a similar thing in terms of protecting our capacity, right? So we don't take on too many people so we can, it also helps you, drive up that scarcity because it's like, listen, when you're walking in line and you see a restaurant that's full to the brim, you're wondering, damn, that restaurant, that must be a damn good restaurant because the lines, you're gonna go line up yourself. So it's a similar model, like when you have that waiting list and you protect your capacity. So I want to ask you, is that why you guys have done so well in terms of, that retention and, really caring for the people you're serving?
I would say that's part of it. The funny thing is like, so retention also comes in, like, even if we had that wait list, right? And let's say we just kept like adding more accounts, then we would still be able to like have clients that could churn. Like, clients could still churn and be like, hey, I don't want to do this. Like, honestly, ever since we've launched Influential, we've the only clients that we've lost is because we fired, because we then found out something that they did inside their business, or there were certain ethics that we didn't actually like or respect. So we're like, hey, we're breaking apart. We don't want our brand and our name attached to anything that's going on, because that's just not who we are. So one of the things is having that with the wait list. The big thing that does matter is bringing on the accounts. So a lot of agency owners, they'll just keep like stacking on a ton of accounts and getting as many as possible, which can make sense if you are a one and done kind of spot. Like, hey, we implement this one funnel, this one campaign for this one niche. You can then do things a lot faster at that point. But the biggest thing that you really got to make sure with inside any agency or any business is that that onboarding is on lock, so that as soon as they pay, there is action steps, there are things that are going on, there is something, so that they feel comfortable, they feel like, oh cool, this is the team. Like, for any agency owner, like, you want to make sure like your client, if for some reason you don't get a result, you got to make sure that they believe if this person can't do it, no one can, and that you do that by the level of service and attention that you give. So onboarding matters a lot, and transparency and communication matters a lot. All of our accounts and everyone is inside Slack. We have all of our team members inside there. And if a client drops a message, like, it is standard, like, get back to them within 2 hours max. It does not matter. We have people that are on all around the world to make sure that our clients are taken care of and they have the attention that they need. But next best thing is, if you get results and you're good at what you do, and you actually are good at like the service that you're giving and the results that you're guaranteeing, everyone's gonna love you. Like, that's one of the biggest things too. And then honestly, another thing on retention is going to be, we personally work. This is actually a really good trick that I learned from one of my mentors. We work in 2 week sprints. So there's so many things that can be going on with inside an agency, and there's so many different things that can be going on inside a business. But if you work in 2 week sprints, like, hey, here's all these other things that we want to do, but these next 2 weeks, this is what we're focusing on. it keeps your clients in check, it keeps your team in check, keeps the business and expectations in check. And then you guys are knocking out 2 week sprints and knocking out stuff and not getting cluttered from all this stuff that you guys can be doing. It's like, hey, here's the biggest needle mover. This is what we're focusing on. And when you keep consistently doing that with clients, you start to program them and train them on your style. And again, they trust you. Like, these are the guys. They're the ones that can do everything. If they for some reason can't, no one else can.
No one else can. So 2 week sprint. So it's like this is so for your team and for your clients, this 2 weeks, this is what we're doing, you know. Oh man,
Yep.
really powerful stuff. And if you don't mind sharing, how big is your team?
So it's kind of funny because that we have influential internal, and then we have all the brands that we manage because we manage the sales and the actual marketing departments of those different brands. So there's some brands that we have our own sales guys with. There's some guys that we've just put the salespeople inside there and we train and manage them. So influential internal, we have about 12, a team of 12. Overall of the all the team members that we manage, it's about 100.
100. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. In terms of Anastasia's podcast, this is something again, it's funny because you talked about building your brand and I always believe when you put something in your mind, all these little cues come up, like the fact that we're on this call, we're doing this right now. It's also your extension of you building your brand because everything, we put up on YouTube and things like that. And Anastasia, we've got a few people lined up for her podcast, so yours may come in the call within the next few months. But it's also around leadership, right? And you're in that position where you're leading a team and she helps leaders and coaches. So the topic conversations will be about entrepreneurship, leadership, and how you've gotten to your position and what you're seeing in the market. So I think that would be a really cool conversation. I think also for us, like what we're doing, I think another cool conversation we can have down the line. And I wanted to get one last question for, let's say, on a sales perspective, what are your thoughts on webinars?
Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. It's hilarious how many people are like webinars are dead or the this is dead, this is dead, just to market and sell their own thing. Webinars work. Now, are webinars changing a little bit? For sure. There's different frameworks for different things depending on your goal. And there's two different goals. You either A are trying to book a call from a webinar, or B, you are trying to sell a product directly right them for them to buy. So depending on which route we're going, we're going to change the content. We're going to change the flow, the time, all that kind of stuff. But webinars work. I do a webinar probably once or twice every single week. I actually have one later today that's teaching people about the crypto and teaching people about how Web3 and everything that's going on that side. So webinars work. The biggest thing though is you got to make sure that you modernize in 2025 everything that you're doing because the market sophistication, aka how like smart they are to marketing, is at all time high. They have their defenses at all time high. They know all the tricks. They know all the things. So you just got to have your copy and your language be different, but all the tools and all those things still work. Facebook groups, eh. I
Mm.
know some of them still crush it because I got buddies that still crush it with some, but for me personally, that's the only one campaign or one thing I don't really mess with is Facebook groups.
Facebook groups, yeah. And just to end off, yeah, the webinar, very true. And I kind of also wanted to get your advice on that because I do the same thing, host them every week. It's so interesting. When you talk about the copy, we're doing webinars, and then I saw something that's so true. It's like you got to lead people away from pain, then leading them to pleasure. So instead of saying, "Oh, how to scale my business, how to do this," I just changed a few words, was like the two biggest mistakes people make when it comes to their personal brand. Boom, or like change the game, and so now it's like, how can we replicate that? So you're right, people, you got to be smart, and now we have things like YouTube. The game's over, so those webinars are just getting posted, and so I think it's really powerful, man. I think amazing conversation. Again, we'll be in touch. I'll have my assistant reach out, get you on the podcast. Similar to this, we have a podcasting studio that she runs, so it'll be like a podcast call like this. And again, I'd love even for this to sharing this out on socials to help people. And we'll get your contact details below. If people want to get in touch, they can just link in the description. And yeah, they can reach out to you.
Yeah, no, 100%. If you want to use this content, that's completely fine. If you also want to, you can even send me some of the snippets. I'm not sure if you're releasing the whole thing or if you're doing snippets, but you can send them over to me as well, and I can even have my team check it out. But appreciate connecting with you, honestly, and excited to connect on the podcast. And when talking about leadership, if there's any other bullet points or things that you guys want, let me know. I just moved to San Diego, so my wall and all my setup and all my stuff will be hopefully built by then. Just been knocking out work ever since I got here.
Work, work, work. And I think what I'll do is I'll just release this in like full, just kind of the full video, get it out there, and then we can start
Yeah,
to get clips later on, because we're just on the again, document, like it's here, it's about like
get it
six
out, get it out.
get it out. It's about 6 here in the morning. Got a podcast later as well here. So it's just like boom. But love it, man. Appreciate your time. Really, really appreciate it. But really good advice. Honestly, I think especially like where I can see you going as well. Not only are you killing in what you're doing in your business, but in that leadership space as well. And really like for agency owners, I'm sure you guys have already planned that, but really helping the people who want to do what you're doing. So you have your client side, you've got your coaching side, being that mentor, and then you got the brand side, and then oh man, whew, game changer.
That's why the brand's called influential. So it's hilarious. That's why we're like, all right, dude, we got to start getting back on our personal brands. We're about influential, and we have all the most influential brands. So, biggest thing I'll say this before I pop off, and one of my mentors told me this, and it really changed my perspective and like just my direction is you can't stop someone who knows where they are going. So as long as you get crystal clear on where you want to go and everything of like that vision and you go after it, you don't need to know how, but you can't stop somebody who knows where they're going. The world will start giving you the different advice, the tools, the resources, and things popping up to help you out. So, if you need anything, man, let me know. It's great connecting with you, and then I'll talk to you later.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're gonna love that one. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're gonna love that one.